Trying to force the same comp over and over is only going to get you so far. You need to learn how to play flex this patch if you actually want to climb. I will be showing you 11 AP carry builds that you can flex between based on your games, and a bonus comp at the very end that is extremely popular in China that I barely see on NA servers. For each comp, I will share the boards as well as item and augment recommendations and comp specific text. The guide will be organized by the cost of the main carry of each comp. Check the description for the timestamps. Let's jump right in, starting with the 2 costs. Yuumi reroll got a few buffs this patch. Yuumi herself got her mana cost decreased, and the heart trait and Malphite also got buffed, each making the board stronger. The main board is 3 supers with as many mascots as we can fit in. The main strategy is to 5 loss streak into Krugs to prioritize econ and item choice on carousel, and then slow roll at level 6 for Yuumi, Malphite, and Lee Sin. Yuumi's best items are blue buff, Gunblade, Giant Slayer, Deathcap, Archangels, Jeweled Gauntlet, and some last resort slams are Guardbreaker, Hodge, and Shojin. You want to prioritize tank items on Malphite as you will usually be able to 3-star him since you're rolling for 2 costs. He doesn't need Chain Vest for armor because he already gets armor through his ability, so prioritize Dragon's Claw, Warmogs, and Protector's Vow on him. As you level, just keep adding more mascots. Very straightforward build. Augments you want when running this comp are Big Friend, Luden's Echo, Blue Battery, Hustler, Trade Sector, Featherweights, Axiom Arc, First Aid Kit, and Cybernetic Uplink. Hero Augments you want are Yuumi's carry and support augments, and Malphite and Lee Sin's support augments. +1 augments that you want are Mascot, Heart, Aegis, and in some cases Star Guardian. Ezreal's carry augment also got a buff this patch, making him a great option if you get Rising Spell Force. The way you play this comp is by slotting in 3 underground as soon as you hit it, going to level 6 and stabilizing with a comp that looks something like this, and then slow rolling prioritizing Ezreal and Vi. There are 2 main variations of this comp. There is the Supers variation, which looks something like this at level 8. You swap out Sona after you've cashed out. The other board is the Threats variation. Again, you play Sona until you cash out and then just play better units. I like the Threats version more personally, but both are solid. Ezreal pretty much likes the same items as Yuumi. His favorite items are Blue Buff, Giant Slayer, Jeweled Gauntlet, and Hextech Gunblade. Last resort items are Shojin and Hodge. Blue Buff or Shojin are vital for this augment because we need Ezreal to cast as many times as possible. Rising Spell Force is pretty much required, but aside from that you want Featherweights for the Supers version, Double Trouble or Threat Level Maximum for the Threats version, and in general augments are Blue Battery, Axiom Arc, Cybernetic Uplink, Ascension, and Jeweled Lotus. Some +1 augments that you want are either Recon or Underground, and Ezreal is also a really good Duelist Emblem holder if paired with Vayne or Neela. Now let's jump into the 3 costs. The strategy for most of these units is to reroll at level 7, so make sure that your econ is strong before going into the mid game. Our first unit is Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz is extremely flexible because he's a threat. You can play him like you were playing Double Trouble and just throw in 2 Rammus, 2 Cho, and 2 Vel'Koz. You can just go vertical threats, or you can even play him in another comp with a different primary carry. He's just super flexible and fits into many comps. Vel'Koz likes Shojin for mana generation and damage items like Giant Slayer, Jeweled Gauntlet, Archangels, and Rabadons. Last resort items are Static Shiv, Blue Buff, Hodge, and Guinsoo's. I like to throw my tank items on Rammus. I like throwing Sunfire and Ionic on him so that when he jumps into the backline, he can proc the items on the carries. Also, Cho'Gath is a pretty weak unit. I would advise against itemizing him, but honestly, you can itemize anyone you want. It doesn't matter too much. Vel'Koz is so flex that he works with a majority of comps and augments, but some standouts are High Roller, Threat Level Maximum, Double Trouble, Triforce, Jeweled Lotus, Axiom Arc, and Blue Battery. A super niche pick is Double Trouble. You don't get the buffs from it, but you could use it to get a free 2-star Vel'Koz to run as a duplicate. Again, remember that you don't get the stats from this, but having 2 Vel'Kozes that are out of sync so that they can stack their freezes is amazing. You can put them out of sync by either running Blue Buff or Shojin on one of them, or putting a bow or an item that builds out of bow on them. Hero augments that you're looking for are Vel'Koz's carry or support augments, Rammus or Cho'Gath's carry augments, or Zac carry or support augments. Pretty much any threat augment that you find will do. You don't really need any +1 augments, but a few that are playable in the 3rd comp that I showed you are Aegis, Prankster, Hacker, and Oxforce. LeBlanc is a lot like Zoe or Vel'Koz. She can fit into many team comps and is a very solid unit. I like to run her in addition to Zoe. I feel that she can be inconsistent on her own, but she's still a very solid carry. Since she has access to Spellslinger, we want to run as many as we're able to in order to maximize the amount of AP that she gets. Since she gets AP from Spellslinger and sometimes from admin, she likes to run items like Jeweled Gauntlet or Giant Slayer much more than Rabadons or Archangels. You also definitely want a mana generation item, either Blue Buff or Shojin. Last resort items are Static Shiv, Hodge, and Guardbreaker. You want to stabilize at level 7 with a board that looks something like this, and you can choose to either reroll at 7 for LeBlanc, Zoe, and Alistar 3, or you can push levels and go 9. Your board at level 9 can look something like this. This board is perfect for +1 heart or admin, or you can drop Nunu or another unit for Soraka to complete those traits. Augments that LeBlanc likes are Blue Battery, Triforce, Luden's Echo, Axiom Arc, and Jeweled Lotus. Hero Augments that you want are LeBlanc Carrier Support, Zoe Carrier Support, Camille or Nunu Support, and Taliyah Support or Carry. +1 augments that work well with this comp are Star Guardian, Spellslinger, Art, Admin, Hacker, and Aegis. Kai'Sa was in a pretty good spot before this patch, but with the buff to Recon, she is a bit more easy to stabilize with. Unlike some other AP units that you can easily flex between because they run blue buff or Shojin, Kai'Sa prefers attack speed items like Guinsoo's or Static Shiv. So while you still want to start with an AP item, you need to commit to this comp a little more than you would to other units. You can also slam more flexible items on her that she still likes, such as Giant Slayer and JG, to keep your options open. If you're able to make Ionic Spark, you can skip on the Static Shiv and build a third damage item on her. Your board when you reroll at level 7 should look something like this, and at levels 8 and 9 you can choose to add Ezreal and Ashe for Recon, or Jinx for Anima Squad and Prankster. Some positioning tips to keep in mind for this comp are to keep your Ionic Spark on the same side of the board as Kai'Sa, to make sure that your Neela is between your other units and not on the edge to optimize her healing circle, and you can play Redemption on her because of her positioning. The last one is if you're playing Jinx, you should frontline her to take advantage of the Prankster dummy. You usually want to itemize Riven as your tank, and spare AD items go on Vayne. A variation of this comp that you can play is what I like to call Monster Kai'Sa. Here's what that would look like. You try to 3-star the threat since you're rolling at 7 anyway. Augments that you're looking for are Double Trouble, Luden's Echo, Triforce, Jeweled Lotus, or Econ augments to help you reroll like AFK, Hustler, Golden Ticket, and Trade Sector. Hero augments that you want are Kai'Sa Support or Carry, Vayne Support or Carry, Rel Support, and any support augment from any of your frontliners. +1 augments that you're looking for are Recon, Star Guardian, Anima Squad, Defender, and Aegis. Our final 3-cost unit is Zoe. I recently made a comprehensive guide on Zoe that I will have linked at the top right and in the description if you're interested. If you want to see the recommended items, augments, and 6 team comps to get you started, check out the full video because Zoe is a very flexible unit that can be played in many different ways, so she needed her own video. Stick around until the very end for a new version of this comp that I didn't mention in my other video. Alright, now we've reached the 4 costs. For these boards, you want to have a more standard leveling pattern or go fast 8 depending on your economy and the lobby. Taliyah is a very flexible carry that can be played in many different ways. You can run a board that looks something like this at level 7 and use Lux as an item holder for Taliyah until you find her. She's very easy to replace since Lux and Taliyah have the same exact traits. After you stabilize, you want to push levels until you reach a board that looks like this at level 9. Taliyah gets a lot of AP through Spellslinger, so you want to prioritize mana generation and damage amp over raw AP. This means Shojin, JG, and Giant Slayer are our main priorities, followed by Hextech Gunblade, Guardbreaker, and Rabadons. Last resort items are Blue Buff, Archangels, Static Shiv, and Hodge. In this board, you can throw Morellos on Zoe or Nunu, whichever you prefer, and tank items on either Annie or Alistar. If you build Ionic, make sure that it's in the direction of where Taliyah is throwing her rocks out, not just in front of her, so you need to be actively scouting when playing her. Some augments that stand out when you're playing Taliyah carry are Blue Battery, Luden's Echo, Jeweled Lotus, Built Different, Cybernetic Uplink, and Portable Forge. She really likes Mana Zane as well as Zhonya's. Hero augments that you're looking for are Taliyah Support or Carry, Nunu or Janna Support, Rel or Lux Support, and Wukong or Sona Support. +1 augments that you're looking for are Star Guardian, Spellslinger, Art, and Prankster. Just like Vel'Koz or Zoe, Asol is incredibly versatile. He can be played as a standalone carry, as a secondary carry, or even just as a Morello replacement. He excels with vertical threats, so our board will usually just be as many 2-star threats as we can throw onto the board. You can also mix in some Aegis for some extra team-wide MR and Civilian for extra mana generation. That board would look something like this, adding Vi, Echo, and Sejuani for Aegis and Brawler frontline, and Janna for Civilian and her weather effect. This board is super flexible, pretty much anything can be changed based on your items and augments. A capped out version of this board will look something like this, using only 4 and 5 cost units. Some items that you're looking for are Shojin, JG, Archangels, Deathcap, Giant Slayer, and Hextech Gunblade. Last resort items are Blue Buff, Static Shiv, Hodge, and Guardbreaker. Remember that you don't ever need to play Morello because Asol's ability already has a built-in burn. So instead with our belts we can build Warmogs for Zac. Some augments that Asol likes are High Roller, Threat Level Maximum, Jeweled Lotus, and Axiom Arc. I don't have many augment recommendations for Sol because he can fit in almost anywhere, so your augments don't really matter. Hero augments that you're looking for are literally just any threat support or carry augment. Just like the Vel'Koz comp, you don't really need +1 augments, but Aegis, Civilian, and Prankster are probably your best choices. Misfortune can be run a few ways. In the early game, you want to build vertical anima squad to build as many stacks as possible with a board like this. We literally just play 5 anima. At level 7 you can add Alistar for Aegis and Mascot, and then we transition into our late game boards. You have a few options. The first is to drop almost all your anima units for a board that looks like this, where we only run 3 anima. We use Civilian to generate mana for MF and the rest of the team. If the weather is sunny, use Janna on your front line, otherwise you want to play it on MF. If you get an anima emblem or want to play vertical, you can play a board that looks like this with the emblem on Echo or Sejuani to give them the HP bonus. The final board is with Aegis instead of 7 anima, playing Leona at level 9. You want to keep Riven with Ionic on the same side as your MF. Her favorite items are Shojin, Archangels, Jeweled Gauntlet, Giant Slayer, Rabadons, and Guardbreaker. Last resorts are Hodge, Static Shiv, Blue Buff, Hextech Gunblade, Edge of Night, and Guinsoo's. Augments that MF likes are Double Trouble, Built Different, Jeweled Lotus, Axiom Arc, Cybernetic Uplink, Ascension, and Portable Forge for Manazane. Hero augments that you're looking for are MF support or carry, Riven support or carry, Wukong or Camille support, and Nasus or Vayne support. If you get her carry hero augment, you can actually consider frontlining her or positioning her in the second row for more coverage. In this scenario, make sure that you're playing a survivability or healing item like Gunblade, Edge of Night, or BT to help keep her alive. +1 augments that you're looking for are Heart, Anima Squad, and in some scenarios you can get an Ace emblem and consider playing 4 Aces. If the admin trait gives HP to your entire team, you will have a perfect setup for a Soraka carry team. This is because you usually want to pair her with brawlers who get amplified HP, or run a brawler emblem on her since she pairs well with Blitzcrank and her ability heals her based on % of maximum HP. You literally just play vertical brawlers for this comp. That's it. You can play Sona until you find Soraka, as she's also a heart and has a very low mana cost, making her really easy to hold blue buff. Speaking of blue buff, Soraka's favorite items are blue buff and Archangels. Other notable items are JG, Giant Slayer, and Rabadons. Last resort items are Static Shiv, Gunblade, Shojin, and Guardbreaker. Soraka is still good without Brawler emblem, but it makes her unkillable, so we want to lean into this comp if we find an emblem. We played Jax as a secondary carry with Guinsoo's to ramp since he will take forever to kill with 8 Brawler, and tank items usually go on Sejuani or Riven in the niche scenarios where you hit her 3-star. Augments you're looking for are Blue Battery, Luden's Echo, Jeweled Lotus, Battle Mage, Second Wind, and Electro Charge. For hero augments, you want Soraka support or carry, Jax support or carry, and Lee Sin support and Riven carry. +1 augments that you want are Brawler obviously, Admin, and Heart. Even though Viego was nerfed a bit through his ability, the Oxforce trait, and both his hero augments, he's still a viable option and you should still know how to play him if given the angle. There are 2 main ways to play Viego, but you can branch out and make many unique comps with him. The first board is a simple 6 Oxforce board with Aegis. Very straightforward to run and very solid. Aphelios makes for a solid AD carry. Another option that you have is to drop 2 of the Oxforce units and add in another carry. Your most flexible options are Bel'Veth and Sol since they are threats, and you can even add in Vi for 4 Aegis. If you get an Oxforce emblem, you can add Fiora back and play Zed, you can play Samira, or you can stick to one of the 4-cost threats. Items that Viego likes are Ionic Spark, Jeweled Gauntlet, Hodge, BT, Titans, and Gunblade. Last resort items are Giant Slayer, Deathcap, Archangels, and Guardbreaker. Some solid augments for this comp are Battle Mage, Knife's Edge, Jeweled Lotus, Celestial Blessing, Luden's Echo, and Verdant Veil. Hero augments that pair well are Viego's carry and support augments, Sol's carry and support, Bel'Veth's carry and support, and Talon and Camille support. +1 augments that you're looking for are Renegade and Oxforce. As a thank you for sticking around this long, I will show you the comp that I've been using to climb a bit, and I actually learned from you guys in the comments, Monster Zoe. This comp started gaining traction the day I posted my Zoe guide, which I had been working on for a few days before, so it was not included there unfortunately. But here it is, and it's very fun to climb with. The strategy with this comp is to reroll at 7 for Zoe, LeBlanc, and the 3-cost threats. These units and Echo are the main 6 you're looking for, and the 7th slot and on is completely flex. You can play duplicates of the threats, add Zac, add Alistar for Aegis, add Bel'Veth as an AD carry, Fiddlesticks for stun, you name it. As we already know, Zoe wants blue buff and Morello to apply her dot on as many enemies as possible. We also learned how to itemize Vel'Koz earlier. And remember, tank items usually go on Rammus. Cho is a pretty weak unit. So we're pretty much just combining the knowledge of the Vel'Koz and Zoe comps together. Augments that we're looking for are Double Trouble, Threat Level Maximum, Blue Battery, Luden's Echo, Triforce, and reroll augments like Hustler, Trade Sector, Loaded Dice, Golden Ticket, and Think Fast. Hero augments that you're looking for are Zoe's support and carry, Vel'Koz support and carry, and LeBlanc's support and Cho'Gath's carry augments. +1 augments that you want are Prankster, Hacker, Aegis, and Gadgeteen. Thank you so much for watching. This was a super long video, so I greatly appreciate your patience and sticking around until the very end. It took me a lot of hours to playtest and make, so I would greatly appreciate if you dropped a like on the video to help me out. And if you want to see more guides like this one, subscribe with notifications on. I'm currently working on an AD version of this guide with the same structure, so you will definitely want to see that one as soon as it comes out to help you with your climb. I also made a Discord server where I will be sharing some exclusive tips, tricks, and techs, and hosting some tournaments and in-houses, so join the server for all that fun stuff. Alright, now get out of here and go play some AP comps.